Our journey starts inside the mouth. It is a warm, wet cave. The walls are soft and pink. Look up and you will see the hard roof of the mouth. Down below is a powerful muscular organ. This is the tongue. It moves the food around, making sure every part gets attention. And all around us we see tall, white structures. These are the teeth. They are the first workers we meet. They have a very important job. They are here to break the food down into smaller, more manageable pieces. This is the very first stage of digestion, the mechanical breakdown of our meal. There are different kinds of teeth, each with a special shape for a special task. The sharp teeth at the front are called incisors. They are perfect for biting and cutting, like tiny knives. Further back, the pointed teeth, the canines, are excellent for tearing. And in the very back we find the molars. They are wide and flat. Their job is to grind and crush the food into a soft, mushy pulp. As the tongue pushes our piece of food towards them, they get to work immediately. It is a noisy, busy place, full of crushing and grinding sounds. But something else is happening here. The mouth is not dry. It is filled with a watery liquid. This is saliva. It comes from tiny glands hidden in the cheeks and under the tongue. Saliva does more than just make the food wet and easier to swallow. It contains special things called enzymes. These are like tiny chemical scissors. They begin the process of chemical digestion. They start to break down the complex starches in our food into simpler sugars. So even before we swallow, the food is already beginning to change, its treasures slowly being unlocked. The tongue continues its work, rolling the small, wet, partly digested pieces of food into a soft ball. This ball is called a bolus. It is now ready for the next stage of its journey. The mouth has done its job perfectly. It has cut, torn and ground the food. It has mixed it with saliva and started the chemical breakdown. The gateway has prepared the way. Now the tongue pushes the bolus towards the back of the mouth. A new passage awaits. We are about to leave the bright cave of the mouth and descend into the darkness of the throat. As the tongue pushes the bolus to the back of the throat, we approach a crossroads. Two paths open up. One leads down to the lungs for air. The other leads to the stomach for food. A clever little flap, a guardian named the epiglottis, quickly covers the path to the lungs. It is a perfect safety mechanism. It ensures our food goes down the correct tube. This tube is called the esophagus. It is a long, muscular tunnel, about 10 inches long in an adult. It connects the throat to the stomach. Our journey downwards begins now into this smooth, dark passage. We are not simply falling down the esophagus. That would be too uncontrolled. Instead, the walls of the esophagus begin to move. They are made of strong muscles. These muscles work in a beautiful coordinated way. They squeeze in a wave-like motion just behind our bolus of food. This rhythmic squeezing is called peristalsis. It gently but firmly pushes the food along, down towards the stomach. It is like squeezing a tube of toothpaste from the top. It is so effective that you could even swallow food while standing on your head, and it would still reach your stomach. The journey down the esophagus is quite quick. It usually takes only about 7 or 8 seconds. The walls of the tunnel are lined with a soft, moist layer. This layer produces mucus, a slippery substance. The mucus acts as a lubricant. It makes the walls slick and smooth. This helps the bolus of food slide down easily without getting stuck. It is another example of the body's clever design. Everything is made to be as efficient as possible. We continue our slide, guided by the gentle waves of muscle contractions, moving ever deeper into the torso. At the very end of the esophagus, we reach another gateway. This is a special ring of muscle. It is called the lower esophageal sphincter. Think of it as a valve or a door. Its job is to guard the entrance to the stomach. When it senses our bolus approaching, it relaxes and opens up. It allows us to pass through. Then it quickly closes tightly behind us. This is very important. It stops the powerful contents of the stomach from splashing back up into the esophagus. We have arrived. We slip through the opening and into the next great chamber of our journey. We have now entered the stomach. It is a much larger space than the esophagus. It is a J-shaped bag with muscular, flexible walls. The walls are folded into many wrinkles, like a deflated balloon. This allows the stomach to expand a great deal when it is full of food. It can hold up to 1 gallon of food and liquid. Our small bolus lands with a soft splash. We are not alone. The stomach is already filled with a clear, watery liquid. This is gastric juice, and the walls of the stomach are already beginning to move, to churn and to mix. The stomach is a powerful mixer. Its muscular walls contract and relax in all directions. They squeeze, pummel and churn the food. This is the next stage of mechanical digestion. The aim is to mix our food with the gastric juices thoroughly. These juices are incredibly powerful. They contain a very strong acid called hydrochloric acid. This acid is strong enough to dissolve metal. But do not worry. The stomach has a secret weapon. It protects itself with a thick lining of mucus. This lining prevents the acid from digesting the stomach wall itself. The acid kills most of the harmful bacteria that may have entered with our food. But the acid is not the only thing in the gastric juice. There is another important enzyme here. Its name is pepsin. Pepsin is a specialist. Its job is to begin the digestion of proteins. Proteins are long, complex chains found in foods like meat, eggs, and beans. Pepsin acts like a pair of chemical scissors, snipping these long protein chains into smaller pieces. The combination of the churning muscles, the strong acid, and the pepsin enzyme works to turn our solid food into a thick, soupy liquid. This process can take a few hours. After several hours of churning and mixing, our original bite of food is unrecognizable. It is now part of a thick, acidic, creamy paste. This paste is called chyme. The stomach has done its job. It has acted as a holding tank, a sterilizer, and a mixer. It has started the important work of protein digestion. Now it is time to move on. A little at a time, another muscular valve at the bottom of the stomach, the pyloric sphincter, opens. It squirts a small amount of the chyme into the next part of our journey. We are about to enter the longest and perhaps most important section of the digestive tract. We leave the stomach and enter a very long, narrow, winding tube. This is the small intestine. You know, it may be called small, but that's really only because it's narrow. If you were to stretch it out, it would be over 20 feet long. It's neatly coiled up inside the abdomen like a long, soft hose. And, well, this is where the main event of digestion truly happens. The first part of the small intestine is called the duodenum. Now, it's only about 10 inches long, but it is a very busy place. As our chyme enters this section, it's met by more digestive juices which arrive from two important neighbouring organs. The journey through the small intestine is a long one. It can actually take several hours. All along the way, the process of digestion continues. The chyme is pushed along slowly by the same wave-like muscle contractions we felt in the esophagus, called peristalsis. But here, the muscles also perform a mixing motion. They pinch and segment the intestine, sloshing the chyme back and forth. This ensures that the chyme is thoroughly mixed with all the digestive enzymes. It also ensures that the chyme comes into close contact with the walls of the intestine, which is where the next crucial step will happen. The inside wall of the small intestine is not smooth. It's covered in millions of tiny finger-like projections. They are called villi. And each of these villi is covered in even tinier projections, called microvilli. This incredible design creates a massive surface area. If you could flatten out the entire inner surface of the small intestine, it would cover a tennis court. This huge surface is essential. It's here that the tiny, broken-down nutrient molecules will finally be absorbed into the body. It's like a vast, absorbent sponge, ready to soak up all the goodness. As our chyme travels through the long, winding path of the small intestine, it is transformed. The enzymes have been hard at work. The large, complex molecules of carbohydrates, proteins and fats have now been broken down into their simplest forms. Carbohydrates are now simple sugars, like glucose. Proteins are now tiny amino acids, and fats are now fatty acids and glycerol. These are the treasures we have been seeking. They're now small enough to pass through the intestinal wall and enter the bloodstream. The main purpose of our journey is about to be fulfilled. Our journey would not be complete without meeting two very important helper organs. These organs are not part of the main digestive tube, but they play essential roles. They are the liver and the pancreas. As our chyme enters the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine, these two friends send their special juices to join the mix. They are like expert chemists, adding the precise ingredients needed to finish the job of digestion. First, let us look at the pancreas. It is a long, yellowish gland that sits tucked behind the stomach. The pancreas produces a powerful cocktail of digestive enzymes. This pancreatic juice flows through a small tube and into the duodenum. It contains enzymes to break down all three main types of food. There are enzymes to finish breaking down carbohydrates into simple sugars. There are enzymes to continue breaking down proteins into amino acids. And, very importantly, there are enzymes to digest fats. The chyme that arrives from the stomach is very acidic. The pancreatic juice also contains a substance that neutralizes this acid, creating the perfect environment for these new enzymes to work. Next, we meet the liver. The liver is the largest internal organ in the body. It is a large reddish-brown organ located on the right side of the abdomen, above the stomach. The liver has hundreds of jobs, but for digestion, its main role is to produce a greenish-yellow liquid called bile. Bile is stored in a small pear-shaped sac tucked under the liver. This sac is called the gallbladder. When fats enter the small intestine, the gallbladder squeezes, sending the stored bile down a tube and into the duodenum to meet the chyme. Bile is not an enzyme. It does not chemically break down fat. Instead, it acts like a detergent. Imagine trying to wash a greasy dish with just water. The grease clumps together. But if you add soap, the grease breaks up into tiny droplets. Bile does the same thing to the large globules of fat in our chyme. This process is called emulsification. It breaks the fat into tiny droplets, which creates a much larger surface area. This allows the fat-digesting enzymes from the pancreas to attack and break down the fat molecules much more efficiently. These two friends, the liver and pancreas, are essential for completing digestion. After many hours in the small intestine, our journey is nearing its end. Almost all the useful nutrients have been absorbed. What is left is mostly water, indigestible parts of food like fibre, and some dead cells from the lining of the intestines. This leftover material passes from the small intestine into the next section, the large intestine. It is called large because it is wider than the small intestine, but it is much shorter, only about 5 feet long. It forms an upside-down U shape around the coiled small intestine. Our passage into this final stretch is through another one-way valve. The main job of the large intestine is not to digest food. That work is already done. Its primary role is to absorb water. As the liquid waste material moves slowly through the large intestine, its walls absorb most of the remaining water. They also absorb some leftover salts and vitamins. This is a vital process of conservation. The body reclaims the precious water and returns it to the bloodstream. This process turns the liquid waste into a more solid mass. This solid waste is what we call feces or stool. The journey through the large intestine is slow, taking anywhere from 12 to 48 hours. The large intestine is also home to a bustling community of trillions of tiny organisms. These are bacteria. But these are not the harmful kind. They are friendly bacteria, and we have a wonderful partnership with them. They are called the gut flora. They live on the fibre that our own bodies cannot digest. In return for this food and shelter, they do many useful things for us. They help to break down some of the remaining undigested food. They also produce certain essential vitamins, like vitamin K, and some B vitamins, which our body then absorbs. They are our silent, microscopic helpers. As the water is absorbed, the waste material becomes more and more solid. It is slowly pushed along the length of the large intestine by muscle contractions. It travels up the right side, across the abdomen, and down the left side. Finally, it reaches the last part of the large intestine, a storage area called the rectum. Here, the feces is held until the body is ready to get rid of it. When the rectum becomes full, it sends a signal to the brain. This signal tells us that it is time to go to the bathroom. Our journey with the food is now complete. Let us go back for a moment to the small intestine. This is where the true treasure was collected. The tiny molecules of nutrients, the simple sugars, the amino acids, the fatty acids and the glycerol were absorbed through the vast folded surface of the intestinal wall. They passed through the cells of the villi and entered a network of tiny blood vessels called capillaries. From here they are carried away into the bloodstream. This is the body's main transport system. It is like a busy river, carrying valuable cargo to every corner of the body. The blood, now rich with these newly absorbed nutrients, travels first to a very important destination, the liver. The liver acts as a processing and distribution center. It is like a master chef and a warehouse manager all in one. It takes the raw nutrients and decides what to do with them. It can store some of the simple sugars as glycogen for later, releasing them when the body needs a quick burst of energy. It can repackage fats and send them off to be stored. It can process the amino acids, using them to build new proteins or converting them for other uses. From the liver, the nutrients are sent back into the main circulation. The bloodstream carries them to every single one of the trillions of cells that make up our body. The cells of our muscles, our brain, our bones and our skin are all waiting for this delivery. They take in the nutrients they need to perform their specific jobs. The glucose provides the energy for a muscle cell to contract or a brain cell to send a message. The amino acids are used as building blocks to repair old tissues or to build new ones, like making new skin cells or hair. This is the ultimate purpose of digestion. It is to provide the fuel and the building materials for life itself. The energy from the food we eat allows us to move, to stay warm, and for our heart to beat. The building blocks from the food allow us to grow and to repair ourselves when we are injured. Every part of us, from our bones to our blood, is constantly being renewed using the nutrients we get from our food. The simple bite of food we started with has now become a part of us, woven into the very fabric of our being. It is a truly miraculous transformation. Our incredible journey is now complete. We have followed a simple bite of food from the moment it entered the mouth until its useful parts were delivered to the cells of the body. We saw how it was broken down mechanically by the teeth and stomach muscles. We witnessed its chemical transformation by the enzymes in saliva, stomach acid, and the juices from the pancreas. We saw how the liver and gallbladder helped to manage the fats. We watched as the precious nutrients were absorbed in the small intestine, and how the water was reclaimed in the large intestine. What remains is the final chapter of the story. The waste material, the feces, is stored in the rectum. When the time is right, the body prepares for elimination. The final exit from the digestive tract is through an opening called the anus. Two rings of muscle, called sphincters, control this exit. One works automatically, and the other is under our conscious control. When we decide to go to the bathroom, these muscles relax, and the waste is pushed out of the body. This process is called defecation. It is the body's way of neatly disposing of what it cannot use. This final act is just as important as all the others. By getting rid of the waste, the body keeps itself clean and healthy. It removes the indigestible fibre and other materials that serve their purpose by helping to move food along the tract. It also expels old cells and unwanted substances. It is the end of one cycle, and it makes way for the next one to begin. Soon we will feel hungry again. We will eat another meal, and this whole wonderful silent journey will start all over again, working tirelessly to keep us alive and well. So, the next time you sit down to eat a meal, perhaps you will think of this amazing journey. Remember the teeth and the tongue. Think of the long slide down the esophagus and the churning of the stomach. Picture the winding river of the small intestine, with its helpful friends, the liver and pancreas, and appreciate the quiet work of the large intestine. Our digestive system is a masterpiece of natural engineering. It works in perfect quiet harmony. It takes the outside world in the form of food and turns it into the energy and substance of our very lives. A truly remarkable world hidden within us all.